The old woman sat by the window, staring out at the dark woods that surrounded her house. She had lived there all her life, and she knew the woods like the back of her hand. But lately, she had been hearing strange noises coming from the woods, whispers that seemed to call her name. At first, she dismissed the whispers as the wind rustling through the leaves. But as the nights went on, the whispers grew louder and clearer, and they seemed to be coming from closer and closer. One night, the whispers were so loud that the old woman couldn't ignore them any longer. She got out of bed and walked to the window, her heart pounding in her chest. She looked out into the darkness, but she couldn't see anything. Then, she heard a rustling sound behind her. She turned around slowly, her eyes wide with fear. And there, standing in the doorway, was a tall, dark figure. The figure had no eyes, and its mouth was twisted into a cruel smile. It reached out a long, skeletal hand towards the old woman, and she could hear the whispers growing louder and louder in her ears. The old woman screamed, and the figure lunged at her. She fell to the floor, her head hitting the hard wooden floor with a thud. The figure knelt down beside her, its cold, clammy hand reaching for her throat. The old woman tried to fight back, but she was too weak. The figure's grip tightened around her throat, and she could feel her life ebbing away. She ran out of the house and into the darkness, the whispers chasing her all the way. She didn't know where she was going, but she didn't dare stop running. She ran for what seemed like hours, until finally, she collapsed in a heap of exhaustion. She lay there for a while, catching her breath, and then she slowly opened her eyes. She was in a clearing, and the moon was shining brightly overhead. She looked up at the sky, and she saw something that made her blood run cold. There, in the middle of the sky, was a giant, red eye. The eye stared down at her, and she could feel its evil power radiating towards her. The old woman knew that she was doomed. She had run from the darkness, but the darkness had found her. She closed her eyes and waited for the end.